look what came in. We have from Trash Panda. Now, I got some seconds. So it came in an envelope instead of their traditional box, but still this is a pretty hefty envelope, very cool. Confidential stamp. Inside, we have this. Tells us some of the details, but they really don't know a whole bunch about it. Because this is the Terrestrial 2. Partnership between Trash Panda Discs and Gateway Disc Golf Supply. These discs are extremely unique. Has about a 6 or a 7 speed rim and like a 13 or a 14 speed rim on the other side. So what do they call it? I can't remember exactly the term that Trash Panda uses for it, but basically there's more weight on one side, there's less weight on the other side. It's easier for smaller hands to hold this side, bigger hands might prefer this side, and anywhere in between you have a lot of different options. We'll see how it flies and compares against each other. I got 2 so that we can go small side versus big side, and then I want to redo the same holes and then switch it up. We might throw a couple of other discs once I see how they're flying and kind of give it a comparison. So this is the Terrestrial 2. I know that Innova already has the Alien, but this is truly something from another planet. Let's go throw some discs. Alright, so we're gonna go, the blue one's gonna be the small side, and the yellow one's gonna be the big side. I'm gonna start off with just a couple of hyzers and see how they handle. Oh, that's so wobbly. It looks so weird when it flies. It's kind of overstable as far as Trash Panda discs go, so it's a good thing to have. That's a weird looking flight. First impressions, it has a weird type of wobble. It's not flutter like you get from off-axis torque where it just kind of does this. It felt like it was going down the fairway like this. It was really interesting. I've heard from other people. I even talked to one of the sales reps for Trash Panda. He came down to another round, Asheville, and I got to talk to him for a little while. And he says that it flies differently depending on where on the rim you hold it. So I have a theory, and we'll test that here in a little bit. I do also want to try it on forehand. I think it's going to be really interesting to try to see how the weight comes off the forehand grip. So we're going to go, again, small side is blue, yellow side is big. Yellow is big side, blue is small side. I don't know what I just said. Go forehand, just a soft hyzer. Not softly thrown, but just soft angle. Oh yeah. All right, big side, hanging out a little more to the left. Okay, so it doesn't look like it has the same weird flutter on a forehand, or possibly that's just because of the way my forehand is. So we're definitely gonna test this thing out. I want to, once we finish this little loop that we're doing, we're gonna come back through and I'm gonna play kind of the medium, but I wanna see if there's a difference if you have the big side behind and the small side behind in your hand. We'll see. A lot more throwing still to come. All right, this time we're gonna switch up. Yellow's gonna go first, so big side first. We're gonna try to get it to flip up on a backhand and see if I put a little bit more power into it. Is it gonna have that same weird little whatever, or is that just because I was throwing it softer on hole 12? Okay, that's a good flight. small side with the blue. Okay, I think my theory, I'm gonna explain it on the next T-pad, but I think my theory is holding up. Actually, why do we need to wait for the T-pad? I'm gonna explain it now. So the theory I have is that depending on what you're most comfortable with, in your hand, it's going to fly straighter and slightly less stable. And the theory is that based off of, because for me, a 7-speed is easier for me to control the rim angle, the nose angle, the launch angle, than it is to do so with a 13-speed. So I can throw the smaller size rim and have the control that I get from a fairway driver, but still get the flight of more of a distance driver. But for some people, it's gonna be the opposite. They have less control over their 7 speeds than they do over their 13 speeds. So for them, the 13 speed might actually be less stable and a little bit straighter. It's a theory. We're gonna put it into more, we're gonna test it a little bit more, and let's go rip some shots on 18. All right, last time for small versus big, we have a little bit of a crosswind. Left to right crosswind. Gonna go big side first. And this time, instead of putting them on hyzer and letting them flip up, I'm gonna be throwing them flat to anhyzer. I wanna see if they come back. I wanna see how long they hold that turn for. Okay. But also that was the big side. So I think for me, the big side is going to fly more overstable because I can't get the nose down as much. I have problems with anything over like a 10 or an 11 speed, getting a consistent release angle on the nose. However, with a 7 speed, 6 speed, I'm gonna have much more control. So this should hold straighter or even turn for a little bit longer than the yellow one. Yeah. So good news is you can buy one disc and you can have a disc that's gonna hold your turnovers, and then you just switch it to the other side and it's gonna be an overstable flex disc. It's pretty cool that they're able to achieve multiple flights with the same disc. Now, since we're on 18, we're gonna circle back to my car, gonna pick up, let's see, I have a 7 speed, I have a 9 speed, 10 speed, 11 speed, 12 speed, and we'll test them all against each other. Maybe not in every hole, but definitely the forehand holes, or the forehand hole, and then on 16 and 18, we're gonna toss them all and wanna see if we can kind of get a gauge for what speed it most well represents. Okay, back out here. Got the ETs, or the extraterrestrial 2s. I call them ATs for right now. It's just a little bit easier to say. We have 7-speed Barsby Eagle. We have a Tesla. It's 158 grams, so it should flip up a little bit. As far as 10 speeds, I have a PD and I have a Trail. Just to kind of test which one it flies closer to. And then we also have an End of a Star Wraith. I forgot to grab a 12 speed. It's fine. We're gonna go without the 12 speed because I don't think it's gonna fly like a 12 speed, especially the way that we're gonna hold it now. Because the way that we're gonna hold it now, before we had the blue here and the yellow here, now we're just gonna rotate them 90 degrees. So we have the weight in front of your hand and then the weight behind your hand. And we're gonna see how these handle. They're both gonna be about a 9 or a 10 speed as far as gripping, just as the size of the rim that you're actually holding, but one of these is going to be the weight behind. So does it have more time to rotate and get speed coming off? Or the weight in front, are you just putting the weight where it needs to go and is it holding that line? I'm gonna throw just these two off of 12, and then we're gonna go throw the forehand hole 15, and then we're gonna throw backhand hyzer off 16, and then the flex shot off 18, and we'll close it out and see, do you actually need to go pick up an extraterrestrial too? Who did we throw first last time? We had yellow first. We're gonna go blue first right now. Weight is on the back behind my grip. So my grip's gonna be right here. The weight is kind of in my palm behind the grip. Let's see how it handles. This one, a little bit less. We're not really going hyzer. We're gonna see if we can push it pretty straight and make it to about the corner down there. Hey, that one turned actually. Maybe I'm actually warmed up now. We'll see. And then the weight in front. Okay, I actually think I like that flight the best. We'll see how the rest of it handles up, but I think I like the weight just slightly in front of your hand with a little bit smaller rim behind. I get more control that way because that's why I like smaller rim discs. There's less pressure on the back of my fingers, and when the back of my fingers and the fingers on the back side of my grip get more traction on the disc, it tends to kick it more nose up as it comes out of my hand. So we'll see. I have a feeling that one's going to be my favorite. As I'm walking up to this one, this pin placement is like 350 or 380, and I parked it. So it's a good shot with that one. Okay, we're gonna throw both of these first, just because we changed up the grip. So it's gonna fly a little bit differently probably. I don't know, we'll see. Yellow one was weight in front, so about 10 speed. Where am I going? About 10 speed. Weight in front of your hand. Yellow disc is first. This one, we're not gonna go hyzer. We're gonna go pretty flat because I think it's gonna get me up there. I don't want it fading out too early. And now, wait. I think I did that one wrong. We're gonna, okay, so weight's behind the hand here. That's a really good flight. Now we get to reach into some more traditional style discs. Varsity Eagle first. We're gonna go 7 and work our way up. So Eagle. Tesla. That one felt bad and it looked even worse. Trail. And now, great. As far as forehands go, I think for backhand, I like the weight in front of my grip for the extraterrestrial. For backhand, or no, for forehand, I think I actually like the weight behind my grip. Seem to have a cleaner release, a little bit smoother, and it's kind of like a -1.3, maybe a -1.2, but depending on where you hold it, it's gonna have maybe a little bit more flip, maybe a little bit more overstability. So for me on the big side, I think it's -1.3. On the small side, it's a -2.2. And in the middle, I think it's -1.2. Those are temporary flight numbers for testing purposes for right now. Let's go through them. We have 2 more backhand holes where we get to actually kind of rip them again, right next to all these other discs. And I think backhand will be able to tell a better maybe speed or distance or stability classification. All right, mixing it up. We're gonna start small, start with the Eagle. All of these are gonna be slight hyzers, so don't wanna go too far here. So soft hyzer, and then kind of punch it. Oh, that's so much hyzer. That was a really bad release. I love when the ground here is dry though, because you get that cool little cloud bomb. All right, Tesla is next. That's a great flight. And then PD. Now some of these have that flutter, but they don't have the wobble that these extraterrestrials do. All right, 2 more. We're gonna go trail and then wraith. Okay, okay, I'll get that when I walk down there. That's almost a 17. All right, now the extraterrestrials. Yellow was weight in front, blue is weight behind. We're gonna go blue first. That disc was very nose up, probably because of my theory that when I have too much plastic back here in my grip, it catches and kicks it nose up. Now about a 10 speed, weight behind, this should be smoother. Okay, let's go pick them up, and hopefully we'll be able to see some differences as far as distance goes. So we might be able to give more of a range as to what the extraterrestrial might fly like for you. Now the trail kind of was the outlier for that grouping. Definitely didn't have the same flight path. I wanted to bring it just because I wanted to test neutral against the rest of them. But as far as the extraterrestrial goes, it's a little bit less neutral and a little bit more overstable, which is really cool because it's really the first mold that Trash Panda has come out with that has been kind of overstable. So the wind shifted, so we're probably gonna throw a little bit less flexy shots and just try to put them flat and let the wind help to turn them. I'm also not gonna throw the trail. It doesn't fit the same kind of stability rating. As far as distance goes, I got that Tesla to flip up super nice. That PD flipped up to flat. And I had an extraterrestrial that was about the same distance. So it's about a 9 or a 10 speed as far as distance goes for me. The Wraith, while it's an 11 speed and it's a little bit faster, it's an 11 speed, so it fades sooner because it gets below its threshold a little bit quicker. So it went a little bit less far. The PD, the Tesla, and then the extraterrestrial actually outdrove them both by like 5 to 10 feet. So extraterrestrial, a very, very unique 9 or 10 speed as far as flight rating goes. Depending on where you hold it, it's going to have different stability ratings as long as you have different consistencies with your discs. I have major inconsistencies with my 11 to 12 speed to 13 speed rims, whereas 10 speed to 7 speed, I have a lot of control and a lot of consistency, so it's going to tend to fly more consistent, and I'm going to get more of like that -1, -2 with a little bit of finish as well. So it's a great disc, really unique concept, and I'm going to love throwing it. Probably going to come out for some of the random draw doubles rounds that we play. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching these last couple of flights. We're going to throw all of the overstable discs, and obviously I have to wait for the fairway to clear. I'm going to throw all the overstable discs, and hopefully you can get your own opinions. Obviously every disc is going to fly differently based off of your own throw, but based off of my throw, being that I tend to prefer flat to slight anhyzers, and I like to turn stuff, and I like to turn the discs instead of flip them up to flat, this might be a good teaching tool because it gives me the ability to turn it, but also it gives me the ability to flip it up to flat, and that's going to be a lot of fun to play around with. We're going to switch it up. We're actually going to go fast to slow, and I'm going to throw the extraterrestrials in kind of where I think they fit in the lineup. Starting off with the Wraith. And then we'll go PD. And then we will go extraterrestrial weight in front of my grip. Look at that flight. And then we'll go extraterrestrial weight behind the grip. Now, Tesla. And now, last but not least, we're going with the Eagle. So as far as the extraterrestrial 2 goes, do you need to bag a unique and somewhat off-center rotating disc? No, you don't have to go bag it. It's going to be a fun teaching tool. It's going to teach you things about your form that maybe you didn't know before. It's going to possibly help you implement new form changes. But as far as for me, I'm going to love throwing the extraterrestrial 2, not because of form changes or telling me things about my form or trying out new stuff. I think it's really cool because I can throw it just based off of my different grip and different throwing styles. I can get a lot of different shot shapes out of one disc just by changing where I hold the disc from. So it's going to be pretty unique, and I think it's going to be really fun if you're playing a very low count disc round. You're going to be able to achieve a lot of different flights and a lot of different techniques and stuff using one disc. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to throw. Maybe it's not for you, maybe it is for you. If it is for you, make sure you go check out Trash Panda. They are doing amazing things, and they're using 100% recycled plastic, and it flies really well, and it feels pretty good. It feels amazing. Make sure you go out there and have some fun. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to like the video. If you want to see something new, make sure to comment that down below, and make sure to subscribe. It helps you out and it helps me out. Until next time, see you out on the course.